Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks, exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Now, to tie it back to Nebraska men's basketball, this group has a chance to do something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
You know, in making a run in the Big Ten tournament, a serious run, in winning the first NCAA tournament game, but they're not going to get there by doing the same things they've always done. It is on this team to step up and change that narrative. It won't change on its own. Teams won't lay over for you, and that's the mindset shift we haven't consistently seen yet.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Early break with Sip and Jake.
Tominaga was hot for the Huskers. He had 30 points in the ball game. They are a lock for the tournament. They are in. They are a lock.
Write it down.
Nothing could take away Nebraska
Where do you have them
basketball.
at?
Well, I'm curious if Billetology and Jake are on the same page. I'd say 8 to 9 seed right now. I don't think they're the 10.
I say an 8.
Okay.
I say
We're
an
on the
8
same
seed
page
right
there.
now.
8 to 9
That's
seed.
right. I see him as an 8.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Happy Hour.
You guys want a happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. This is the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico with you. Hello, Rico.
Hello.
How's it going?
Fantabulous.
Good.
It's beautiful weather here.
I know. I want to go outside.
It was more beautiful down in Orlando, but it's beautiful here.
I feel like I apologize for the way I sound right now.
You better.
I apologize. I can't do anything about it. I feel great. I just don't have much of a voice.
You sound better than you sounded last year at this time.
Yeah. I think I was in shape for it a little bit more. The voice was. Shout out to Hall's menthol cough suppressant and anesthetic.
I don't know why they haven't sponsored your state calls
cough
yet.
And throat relief.
There it is.
There you go. Relieves coughs and soothes sore throats. Cools nasal passages. It does. Mentholyptus flavor.
The only free shout out we will ever give.
Yeah, shout out to Halls. This is the bag that was with me. I'm surprised it's not gone yet.
How did you only?
I think I went. Well. So here's the truth.
That's why your voice sounds like this. You didn't go through the whole bag.
Here's the truth of it: is that I read the directions of like, okay, maybe I need to have, some self control here because I would pop these, every couple minutes if I could. And I saw on the back that it says, let's see, here it is. Do not take more often than 2 hours apart. And so I read that after I had popped about 3 of these in about the span of 45 minutes. And I thought, well, crap, I'm probably good for the day. You
were relieved.
Yeah. So I realized I didn't know like side effects of just eating Hall's cough and throat relief like candy. Beautiful. I didn't know if there was any side effects.
I don't think there are.
I don't know.
Shout out to your state calls, though, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Rico.
You and Jay did amazing.
Thank you, Rico.
It
was a lot of fun.
I enjoyed every single second. I got to sit down next to you guys for a little bit.
You did. Little Bellevue West.
Bellevue West almost stunner in the first round.
Man.
And then I got to hear you guys for the first part of the Central and Omaha North one, which was the beginning was electric.
Yeah.
And then was it Central Central ended up getting the win there. But then Bellevue West ends up winning the whole thing. Thank goodness. Shout out to the T-Birds.
And the person that probably had the most pressure on him this state tournament was probably Steve Klein, the new Bellevue West head coach, because he takes over for Doug Woodard,
Mhm.
right? Takes over for Doug Woodard, who had a legendary career, and Coach Woodard was up in the stands.
He was.
And I can't imagine anybody that had more pressure on themselves than maybe Steve Klein.
Can you imagine having Doug Woodard's eyes in the back of your head? Like,
Well-
kind of not like judging, but just like, he's there. And like, he'd have his thoughts like, this is what I would do in this situation.
frankly,
This is
from
what I
like-
would do.
From like a program standpoint, you've won now back to back,
3 out of 6, 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. Miller North has won the other 2.
Yep.
Um,
They've gone 6 times in a row, or 5 times. 5 times in a
this
row.
was the 5th straight matchup.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was good stuff. Yeah, once again, huge thanks to Rico. I said it earlier on the show, but like appreciate you guys, you, Bach, Austin, Josh, Harrison, Bill, Ben, everybody for pushing all the buttons back here and filling time, because it's good. It's good. And if you want a recap of the state tournament, Jay and I actually recorded a video, and it's up on YouTube, or it will be once it's done uploading. Video on YouTube of just recapping girls and boys state basketball tournaments, and so that's up on YouTube. We did that this morning. It's only like 30 minutes long or so, but anyway, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 961. We got a good show lined up for you guys today, because we have at 1:30 p.m. today the Big Ten Network's Connor Onion. He's joined the show a couple of times for a multitude of reasons. You might hear his voice on Volleyball Day in Nebraska on the Big Ten Network. You might have heard his voice throughout Big Ten baseball season. But now, you probably, if you tuned into the Nebraska-Michigan basketball game last night, you would have heard his voice on the call with Nick Boss. So Connor Onion of the Big Ten Network will join us at 1:30, talk about just Nebraska basketball in general, and then also the Big Ten tournament. Because guess what? Nebraska's a 3 seed.
That's crazy.
I mean, here's the thing. We had the preliminary discussions weeks ago of like, okay, technically, mathematically, they're not out of the double bye territory.
If this happens and this happens,
Yeah,
then
right.
Nebraska will get a double bye. If they lose here, but this team loses, they might still have a chance at the double bye. For the most part, a lot of the conversation centered around the 4 seed. But then, some things happened in the Big Ten, and there was a chance for them to jump up to the 3 seed. And sure enough, they control what they can control. They beat Michigan. And then, lo and behold, Purdue downs Wisconsin, and Nebraska up to the 3 seed.
Well, and the biggest thing was that Northwestern lost last week. That was the biggest one, was that Northwestern lost in one of their midweek games, where it was like, all right, Nebraska was in like prime position to control their own destiny. Like they were up to it was up to them on what seed they were at, right? And it all started with defeating Michigan on Sunday. I would ask this to Husker fans on the text line, 402-464-5685. What level of confidence are you? Because now Nebraska's in this, I guess, surprising position that they're not necessarily accustomed to being in, as where they're going to be the higher seed in a Big Ten tournament.
That's wild.
They're going to be a higher seed and a much higher seed than whoever they play, whether that's 14th seed Michigan, whether that's 11th seed Penn State, or whether that's 6th seed Indiana. They are going to be at least 3 seeds higher than their opponent in Friday night's game. And because Nebraska hasn't been able to win consistently in years past, and because Nebraska is the program that they are, I would ask Nebraska fans, how much confidence do you have in them being able just to do the job on Friday? Because if anybody else from a national perspective, Rico, let's say, for example, it was Purdue as the 3 seed. You're sitting there, and let's say we're not fans of Purdue.
Okay.
We're sitting there going, oh yeah, we'd expect Purdue to win.
100%. You look at
whether,
Purdue,
whether they play Indiana, whether they play Minnesota or Michigan, or whether they play Penn State, it's that we expect them to win because they take care of business almost every single time.
I mean, honestly, the top 2, was it Purdue and Illinois are the top 2 seeds? Northwestern's the 4 seed.
And
Nebraska the 3 seed.
I'm just thrilled. Like, number one, I'm thrilled for Nebraska's path.
Yeah.
But I also am just so fascinated and intrigued by like the national perception of Nebraska right now, because I don't really know what it is. And it might be a little more tainted than maybe we realize. But like, I would imagine that there's some folks in the Big Ten Conference that are sitting there looking at the bracket and going like, I want to know what Indiana people are saying this morning.
If they're like, oh, if we can get to the double bye and we have to face Nebraska, we feel really like, is that how some of these teams feel? If they think, when you're looking at the top 4 seeds and you see Nebraska, out of all the top 4 seeds, who in the Big Ten, who right now in the Big Ten, are they looking at these top 4 seeds and thinking, oh, that's going to be the easiest top 4 seed to beat? Are they looking at Nebraska? Who's
We're so
sitting
accustomed
at the
to
3
it
seed?
being
Because
Nebraska.
that's what it would feel like to me is these other teams are looking and they're like, okay, we like our path. We have to get, one, if you have a single bye, we have to get, by this one team, and then we'll get Nebraska. Oh, I feel really good about making it to the semifinal, et cetera, et cetera. So even though they're sitting at the 3 seed, I feel like they still need to have this feeling of the hunted. Like, I don't know if they're quite the hunter yet. I mean, they're a 3 seed. You would expect them to be the hunter. But at the same time, it's Nebraska at a 3 seed. Again, the only power conference team to not have an NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
When you look at them and you think, we could take it. It's a team that has 4 wins on the road,
Because
3 wins in the road in
that's-
conference. So you look at them and you're just like, oh, yeah, no, we could take care of this. We'll be fine.
Because that's how I feel with all of it, honestly, is that I sit there going, Nebraska just passed another test on Sunday, right? Like, part of the test for Nebraska fans is that, all right, is Nebraska able to win a game that they're supposed to win? It's so similar to football, right? Win a game that they're supposed to win, even though it's on the road. And not only did they do that against Indiana, they also have done it against Michigan. They've done it at home multiple times in a time where Nebraska usually loses a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's a voice. Loses a bad one.
What happens?
And so Nebraska is here. They won not only just one yesterday, they won comfortably by 15 points. And I think Nebraska's in this really interesting spot to where you ask yourself from a national perspective, all right, do you feel like, okay, Nebraska has a pretty good shot to not only win their first game, but maybe even make it to Sunday? Like, we can look at the Big Ten bracket, and you can go back and forth of whether you would rather have Michigan, whether you'd rather have Penn State, whether you'd rather have Indiana.
The problem with having Michigan, even though you feel like you would feel good about facing Michigan because you just did what you did against Michigan, if you're facing Michigan and you're Nebraska sitting at that double bye, yes, they would have played 2 games to get to that point, 2 games in back-to-back days. But if Michigan makes it there, that means that they're hot. That means that they're rolling. So that's the thing that you have to take into account. If you're going to face a team that played on the first day, they're feeling pretty good about themselves because they've gotten through those first 2 games, those first 2 days of the Big Ten tournament. However, if you go back and you look at Nebraska's previous runs in the Big Ten tournament when they didn't have a bye and they had to play on the first day, yeah, sure, they'd get through those first 2 days. But when you face that top 4 seed after that double bye for them, you're hot and you're feeling good as a team, but also you just played back-to-back days. You're playing for the 3rd day in a row.
Yeah.
You're a little tired. So regardless, look, you would feel good playing in Michigan doing that. But again, you have to be careful because although it's a neutral site game, it's kind of a road game, and Nebraska hasn't had much success on the road this season. And again, the team is hot, but there's so many different factors that would go into it that it's just strange seeing Nebraska sitting there at the double bye and not having to play until Friday.
So here's the thing. I mean, if you want to go back for Nebraska, right? Nebraska, they have been bounced the last 4 straight years in the first round. They've had to play on Wednesday for 4 straight years, and they have not won their opening game the last 4 years. In 2019, they made the quarterfinals. In 2018, made the quarterfinals. Got bounced in the first round in 2017. Made the quarterfinals on 2016. Bounced in the first round in 2015. You made the quarterfinals in 2013 and 2014, and you've been bounced in the first round of 2012. So you want to have this conversation. Don't forget, for some of those years in the early time, the conference was much smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So quarterfinals wasn't necessarily as exciting as it is now. But think about where Nebraska's starting. So if they win on Friday, they will have gotten farther than they ever have in the Big Ten basketball tournament. If they just win one game.
That's it.
Where in the last, I don't know, since 2012, I guess, you've either needed to win one. In 2014, you were the 4 seed, so you only needed to win one, but you lost. But other than that, there were years where you needed to win 2, you needed to win 3, and you didn't even win 1. So Nebraska's in such a unique spot for them as a program right now that to have their best finish ever in the Big Ten basketball tournament, they just need 1 win. And man, you can argue that they have a really nice road or path to do so.
Your path to a Big Ten semifinal is pretty. It looks good. It looks like it could be taken care of. It looks like you could do it. Again, make
you
it
feel really
further,
good about it.
Make it further than you've ever made it in the Big Ten tournament with a single win.
I just find it fascinating that Nebraska's in such a different spot.
As Nebraska, you feel good going up against just about any team in the Big Ten. I mean, even if the 1 seed Purdue, I mean, you beat them, right? You beat Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
You've beaten and lost to everybody in the Big Ten this season. Like, that's the thing, is you feel good regardless of who you go up against, but there's also that twinge in the back of your mind, that Nebraska basketball feeling where I know that Jake was talking about, when's the other shoe going to drop?
Yeah.
When is it going to happen? When is that patented letdown going to hit you? But so far this season, aside from earlier when you were feeling really good and then you'd lose a couple, lose some road games, it's been a very, again, I mean, this is, just kind of stating the obvious. It's been a very successful season for Nebraska basketball. And it's been one of those seasons where maybe, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but maybe it's one of those seasons where the shoe doesn't drop. Not to say that they make a run in the NCAA tournament, but the shoe doesn't drop in terms of that loss where, oh my gosh, that shouldn't have happened. What happened? And then, your hopes are dashed.
What if I told you Fred Hoiberg has never won in the Big Ten tournament?
I mean, based off of what you were saying in the last few years, I would believe it.
Fred Hoiberg has never won in the Big Ten tournament. So Tim Miles' final year, Nebraska knocked off Rutgers. Then they knocked off Maryland, who was ranked 21st in the country, the next day. And then you had to play Wisconsin on Friday.
Was that Johnny Trueblood year?
It was James Palmer Jr. year. James Palmer Jr. and Glenn Watson year.
Okay.
Roby as well. Fred Hoiberg has never won in the Big Ten tournament. In his first year, Nebraska lost to Indiana 89-64. Kevin Cross led your way in scoring with 23. In 2020,
shout out to Kevin Cross.
2020, Nebraska lost 72-66 to Penn State. They finished the season 7-20 overall. In 2021, Nebraska lost their opening game to Northwestern 71-69. Alonzo Verge Jr. led the way in scoring with 21. And then last year, Nebraska loses to Rico by 3.
Oh, are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
Oh.
Who did they lose to last year?
Iowa.
The Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Dang it.
Minnesota beat them 78-75. Tominaga led the way with 23 points. Griesel had 12 rebounds. And Derek Walker had 5 assists. So there you go. Just uncharted waters for Nebraska right now. But here they are. This whole season.
You've never been in this situation
the
before.
The whole season has kind of been it. You've rarely been in it for Nebraska basketball in general, no matter who the coach was.
This is wild.
Nebraska's a 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Let's take a break. When
Happy
we come back,
times.
You're darn right. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Big Ten Network's Connor Onion, as he was on the call for Nebraska Michigan last night. He's been obviously aware of what's going on throughout the Big Ten basketball season and that much more. So we're going to dive into that, talk big picture as well, Big Ten conference, just basketball in general. Is it a down year for the Big Ten conference? We'll talk all about that. Maybe we'll sneak a couple baseball questions in there with him as well. So we'll have Connor Onion of the Big Ten Network coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hog Wild's giant stuffed baked potatoes are anything but basic and really hit the spot when you're craving a little comfort food. Nothing is more satisfying than a Hog Wild baked potato loaded with butter, sour cream, cheddar cheese, bacon bits, and chives. Add your choice of a Hog Wild house smoked meat like pulled pork, chicken, or brisket for a little extra. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off the enrollment fee. The next challenge begins on March 23rd. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
It seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months happening right now at Koppel. So take that short money saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with proof credit. Stock number G214773.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and air park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Tominaga was hot for the Huskers. He had 30 points in the ball game. They are a lock for the tournament. They are in. They are a lock.
Write it down.
Nothing could take away Nebraska.
Where do you have them
basketball.
at?
Well, I'm curious if Bilotology and Jake are on the same page. I'd say 8 to 9 seed right now. I don't think there's a 10.
I say an 8.
Okay.
I say
Okay,
an
we're on the
8
same
seed
page
right
there.
now.
8 to 9
That's
seed.
right. I see him as an 8.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures. All things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Ooh, what a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Old School with DP and J.
Do you think it's too early to talk about Patrick Mahomes as the greatest of all time? You know, to be honest with you, I think he might be ahead of the pace. It was definitely on pace, maybe ahead of the pace. I think right now everything that he does is going to get overblown, and I think people so quickly forgot the 20-year run of the Patriots. Not 5-6 years, 20-year run of Tom Brady and the Patriots.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I vomited last night.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I literally vomited. I threw up.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Let's get right into it here. Let's head over to the Allo VIP line. VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. And we're joined on the Allo VIP line by the Big Ten Network's Connor Onion. Connor, it's I don't know, is it like your 4th or 5th time on our show here? But we talk about exciting things every single time.
I agree. I think we were talking Big Ten baseball tournament last time I was on,
Yes.
and now it's time for the basketball tournament already. Hard to believe, but thanks for having me again.
Connor, do you just love doing Nebraska events? Because man, you were on the call last night for basketball. You were in town for volleyball day in Nebraska. Like you just all over for the big time Nebraska events.
Yeah, no, I love it. Obviously, you guys have really good fan support, and I feel like there is a lot of engagement whenever I do a Nebraska game because your fans are so passionate. So obviously it helps when you're setting a world record, like you mentioned with Volleyball Day Nebraska or some of the postseason events I've done. But always enjoy a trip to Lincoln and getting out on O Street and having some fun in Haymarket too.
Wait, hold up. Are you an O Street guy? Like, do you after a call, are we out on O Street or are we down in the Haymarket?
Well, so my brother went to Nebraska Wesleyan.
Wow.
So I am a little bit partial toward the area. He would always take me to Haymarket.
Okay.
And that's usually where I would have a pregame meal now. Now that I'm being a responsible work person when I come to Lincoln. Usually I go to Haymarket for dinner the night before the game, and then I've got to catch a flight right after. So
yeah.
Usually not a lot of post-game shenanigans going on.
I would say that we need to get you here in our studio because we're right on O Street, but you're just a very busy man. I don't know if you'd have time for us.
Hey, let me know. I'll try to get travel booked where maybe I can get in a little bit early and stay a little bit late next time. And I'd love to stop by.
Well, here's the deal. Do you know baseball schedule? Like, do you have your next trip to Lincoln like scheduled yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I can call into the show as soon as that schedule drops and let you know.
Well, you have the number. I mean, we can definitely have the conversation because it'd be a blast. All right, so once again, Connor Onion of the Big Ten Network joining us now. One more just off the wall question before we actually talk about something serious. We've been talking as we were getting ready to have you on. Have you ever called a game with Bill Raftery and the whole Onions shenanigans?
I have. That's actually how my college basketball season started this year. I called the Michigan State Tennessee game in the preseason at Michigan State with Bill, and we went full force into the Onion bit.
Wow.
We at halftime, I had two onions and I presented him with one and basically said, "Bill, thank you for helping name me and my family members." and he got a pretty good kick out of it. And Bill loves all things fun. So I didn't tell him that I was going to do that, but he played right along with it as soon as I did that on camera at halftime.
That's awesome.
I just thought that you need your text ringtone, your text alert to just be him saying onions every time you get a text.
I don't know if I could do that all year, but maybe for the month of March, or at least for what's left in March, that's a really good idea. I think I'm actually going to make that change as soon as we get off here.
Yes. Let's talk about March, right? Because so it's kind of, as we were talking in the first segment, me and Rico, like, this is uncharted waters for Nebraska. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Fred Hoiberg has not won a single game in the Big Ten tournament. They have not made it out of the first round, obviously, in the last 4 years. But here they are. They get a 2-game break, and if they win on Friday, they're farther than they have made it since 2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of skipped a step, right? Because the first night of the tournament has been where they've lived, as you mentioned. So I think having a single bye this year would be viewed as a win, but they skipped that step, and now they've got the 3 seed. And as the 3 seed, you kind of get to watch the chaos unfold in front of you, because all 13 teams outside of Nebraska will have played by the time they play on Friday night. So, they're going to go into this well rested. They had the week off, played the game at Michigan yesterday, and then this will be just their second game in 12 days. So I heard you guys mention it in that last segment, the path for Nebraska. I really like it. I agree with the assessment that you guys had. Not only is Nebraska playing well, winning 6 of 7, but it's probably going to be Indiana in that first game, and that was the monkey off the back road game where Jamarcus Lawrence had the great night and beat Indiana. And I think they match up really well with the Hoosiers. The Hoosiers have won 4 straight on the strength of their inside game with Malik Reneau and Khalil Ware, but Nebraska defends the paint so well, and Indiana does not shoot threes well. I think that's part of why Nebraska finally got that road win was that dynamic in the matchup. And I think that plays really well into a potential quarterfinal win for the Huskers.
Well, and Connor, I guess from your vantage point there yesterday, and you've had a couple of Husker games this year, what is it about this team that has allowed them to get to where they are? Because like I said, you look at just the last 3 years, and it's been significant improvement and increase in number of just wins. So what is it now in year 5 of Fred Hoiberg where things did not look good? Things look bleak. And I know you and I were texting back and forth weeks ago when Nebraska knocked off number 1 Purdue and then beat Wisconsin. And here we are that a couple weeks later, Nebraska's a 3 seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think when we were texting about it, Nick, it was the fact that Nebraska was shooting the heck out of the basketball. They shot 60% from 3 the night they beat Purdue. And over the last month, I would say it's the other side of it. It's defensively. And me and Nick Baugh, who I called the game with yesterday, had a chance to spend some time pregame with Nate Lenzer, who's on Fred's staff as an assistant. And he basically compared Juwan Gary to what Khalil Mack was to the Bears when he was playing D-line for the Bears. Getting Juwan Gary healthy has changed what Nebraska has been defensively. And over the last month here, they've been one of the top 5 teams in the country defensively. So that paired with, Keisei Tominaga and the rest of the guys shooting from outside, at the clip that they have has turned this from a team that I think was viewed as maybe less talented than most of the teams in the Big Ten, but always played hard, into a team that still plays really, really hard, but that's now paired with the skill that you'd expect from an upper tier Big Ten team. And that's what you have with what is now a third place team and a team that has a double bye.
Well, and once again, we're speaking with Connor Onion of the Big Ten Network. And Connor, we were talking about it in the first segment. Like, I don't know what the Big Ten Conference on a bigger scale, what their perception of Nebraska is, because it's just such a unique time to where they're, like you said, a top 4 team in the Big Ten Conference. I don't know if like Indiana's sitting there going, yeah, you know what, we don't really feel great about playing Nebraska or whoever, because that's just such a foreign concept, I think, when you're speaking about basketball and Nebraska, the men's program. You don't have those two ideas coming together in the same sentence very often.
No, you don't. And I think maybe from fan basis perspective, from some of the other places in the Big Ten, that might be the perception. If you're an Indiana fan, you probably like your draw because historically Nebraska isn't always going to be a tough out. But I think the other coaches in the Big Ten, and I think the players in the Big Ten, have found out really quickly that Nebraska is not a team, especially this year, just to look past. Nebraska has, in my opinion, and I think the numbers and the facts would back this up, they have something that no one else in the Big Ten has. And that's that 7 different guys carry them offensively. You can pretty much every night rely on Tominaga, Mast, and Williams to at least give you 10 plus. But I think about the game Juwan Gary had against Minnesota when he had 20 plus. Josiah Allick in both of the Michigan games gave the Huskers big scoring, and CJ Wilcher against Wisconsin in the big win, and Jamarcus Lawrence against Indiana on the road. I mean, those are 7 of the 8 guys in the rotation that go out and be the guy on any given night. I don't think any other team in the Big Ten has that type of depth as far as scoring.
When we look at the Big Ten Conference as a whole, it's been such an uncharacteristic year and just kind of a wild season, because you have a team in like Wisconsin, for example, who came into Lincoln 6th in the country and pretty much what at that point locked into a top 4 seed. And here they are 5th in the Big Ten final standings. And they'll have Rutgers and Maryland, and they got to go play Northwestern if they're able to get past that. But they struggled down the stretch. Purdue didn't seem so invincible. Maybe they figured out a way to get back on the right track of things. Illinois struggled for a stretch there. Actually was a little bit better when Terrence Shannon was maybe out of their lineup. They shot a little bit better. Iowa was up and down. Ohio State went through like the couple week stretch of after they fired Chris Holtmann. What do you make of this tournament? Because it maybe not in Nebraska's path necessarily, but elsewhere, like Wisconsin seems like a team where if they're able to get hot, if Steven Crowell's aggressive, they can make a run. Nobody knows what Northwestern's really capable of right now. Iowa's kind of a wild card. Just overall thoughts on the tournament. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah. Somebody was asking me that last night when the bracket came out. Who do you think wins it? And it's boring to say the 1 seed, but I just feel like Purdue is in such a place where they've heard all the noise of you lost to a 16 seed, and I just don't think they're going to mess around. And I mean, they could shoot 15% from 3 and lose a game in this tournament, but having the inside presence of Zach Edey, of course, and the guards have handled pressure a lot better than they did last year. That's the easy answer and the easy pick, and that's where I stand as of today. But Northwestern at full health, I think, would push them in a potential semifinal. Wow. Losing Ty Berry and Matthew Nicholson looks like, it looks like it's going to be a really tough path for Northwestern, because you mentioned Wisconsin. Western lost to Wisconsin on the road. Now they're shorthanded, but they have Boo Buie. That's where my mind keeps coming back to. They have a player kind of similar to what Keisei Tominaga has been to Nebraska, where Bowie can go off for 30 to 40 points and kind of carry you through 3 days, but it's going to be a lot tougher at the top side of that bracket, opposite of Nebraska. But the potential semifinal matchup for Nebraska is really interesting. I think you guys mentioned it on the previous segment. Nebraska beaten just about everybody in the Big Ten, but that 3-team pairing of Ohio State, Iowa, or Illinois that could be Nebraska's semifinal matchup. Ohio State's the only team to beat Nebraska in the last month. Iowa and Illinois are 2 teams they didn't beat in the regular season. So that becomes a very interesting revenge type, prove it type matchup for Nebraska, where maybe they finally get one of those teams for the first time. And I would love to see that be the matchup, Illinois against Nebraska in the semis, because that game in Champaign, I mean, it was inches away with some of the full court pressure Nebraska put on at the end from being their first road win in the Big Ten. And I think that's a fun matchup for TV viewership, but also a good matchup for Nebraska that I think they could win.
I mean, Connor, last one before we let you go. You've been all over the place here this year for Big Ten basketball. Where do you lay on the narrative of road wins and how much they matter, right? Because that was such a big deal in our scope of like Lincoln, Nebraska. And for a long time, a lot of people were thinking, oh, that's what's going to keep Nebraska out of the tournament. Essentially, it feels like the Huskers are a lock to make it, especially after their win yesterday on the road, and especially the one at Indiana a couple of weeks ago. But like, where's your mind at with that narrative of like road wins? It's you need to win on the road, because we saw this year, not even just in the Big Ten Conference, but all over, it's pretty difficult to do so.
Yeah, I think if they didn't beat Indiana and they didn't beat Michigan and have the 2 Big Ten road wins, I do think it would have been weaponized against Nebraska as far as the selection committee. But now that they have 2 wins, they beat Kansas State. It's not like they had no road wins in the non-conference. They didn't play a lot of true road games in the non-conference, but they did have a win against Kansas State. They finally got 2 in the Big Ten. It took a while, but I think if the committee were really watching these games and closely, like we do in Big Ten country, which I know they're watching a lot of games and they have a lot of information coming in, but the Illinois game is a perfect example of not like Nebraska just down and got crushed in all the road games. The Rutgers game, Juwan Gary gets hurt. I think they probably win that game if he finishes out the final 7 minutes. The Maryland road loss, one that you would obviously like to have back, but I think because they have 2 Big Ten road wins, they got the monkey off the back. I don't think it's going to be used against them on Selection Sunday, and I feel really, really good about Nebraska being in the field with 22 wins and being a top 4 team in the Big Ten.
Well, okay, so I'm curious now, like how much in your eyes does name recognition play a factor in Selection Sunday? Because so much has been made of Michigan State, and you look at it, they're seeded 8th. They have an opening round matchup against Minnesota, who can be a wild card to some teams with their exceptional guard play at times, and then not to mention Dawson Garcia. Like what? So I mean, the Big Ten Conference probably going to be a 6-team bid league, I would assume. And that 6th and final team sounds like it could be Michigan State, but you look at the bracket, and if you're just a casual basketball fan, you're saying they're 8th in the Big Ten tournament standings.
Right. No, it's a really good question. I think the name recognition obviously plays into it, but what do we have all these metrics for if we're not actually going to use them to evaluate the teams? I was watching Arch Madness yesterday, the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. And, the debate will rage on now for a week. Should Indiana State be in after losing to Drake in the championship game yesterday? And Indiana State, I know this is off topic here, Indiana State is 26th in the net. That's considered the NCAA's evaluation tool. Yes, exactly. So I don't see how you hold a team 26 in the metric signed by the NCAA is not allowed into the NCAA tournament. So name recognition, a part of it, the characters and the storylines. The TV event, of course, will always play into it. But if a team is rating as high as somebody like Indiana State and they're not let in the tournament, then what are we doing?
Well, and speaking of Arch Madness, there you go. How about Tucker DeFries?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know Creighton fans there in the state of Nebraska were hoping that maybe they could steal him away from his dad with his dad's ties to Creighton for so many years. But yeah, being the player of the year multiple times. He had a game here in my neck of the woods a few weeks ago at University of Illinois Chicago where he scored 39 points, and I think that got him on the radar of big market numbers a little bit more, and I think that will only grow now that Drake is going to be playing in the NCAA tournament again.
All right, Connor, what's the upcoming schedule like? What's on your docket here in the coming days and weeks where people can find you?
Yeah, I'll be watching the Big Ten tournament. Can't wait to watch Kevin Kugler, Brandon Gaudin, Robbie, Stephen Bardot. Those guys called the tournament for BTN, and then I'll be watching along with the rest of us for the Big Ten tournament. And then baseball season's coming soon. Still waiting on the schedule to drop, but hopefully a trip to Lincoln and maybe a trip to Omaha at the end of the Big Ten regular season is in order. So hopefully I can see you guys in person.
Heck yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, the door is open anytime. So, all right, Connor, we'll let you go, man. Appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the Big Ten tournament. Hopefully Nebraska and Fred Hoiberg can get their first win under Coach Hoiberg in the Big Ten tournament.
You got it, guys. Thanks as always for having me.
There he is, Connor Onion of the Big Ten Network. Appreciate his time as always. Good stuff. Extremely knowledgeable. Had a chance to meet Connor back in at the Big Ten tournament when we had him on the first time, because we had him on Big Ten tournament. We had him on Volleyball Day in Nebraska, the start of the basketball season, and now today. So he's a good dude.
I met him for the first time at Volleyball Day in Nebraska.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Went and talked to him and Emily Eamon.
There you go. So there you go. Connor Onion of the Big Ten Network. Appreciate his time as always. Good stuff from him on the just the landscape of the Big Ten Conference, because it is fascinating. I mean, when you have all the storylines that he mentioned with Nebraska, also some of them do favor Nebraska. You have the Keisei Tominaga excitement that comes along with him, but then also from a national perspective, Nebraska's a good team.
A very good team.
Like that's what we have to realize as Husker fans. Is like, maybe it's not fool's gold now. It's completely understandable.
Maybe
that
they are actually good.
Yeah, like maybe that was it's okay to have that response or thought back in December, January
when they're beating the non-conference opponents before the Big Ten, when they're beating all of the bye games, if you will.
Yeah, but like here we are now, and Nebraska's firmly in it. And as Connor mentioned, as I said in the first segment, and Rico agreed with, like the path is pretty comfortable for Nebraska, especially on Friday night.
What excites me the most, and look, again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, is if Nebraska makes the NCAA tournament, and we see it and hear it every single year in the NCAA tournament, is that you win because of your guard play. And one of the better players in the Big Ten, and one of Nebraska's better players, Keisei Tominaga. If you can make the tournament, first off, people are going to fall in love with Keisei. And secondly, if he can do his Keisei thing for a couple of games, things would be really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So
first you have to do it in the Big Ten tournament, then you have to make the NCAA tournament, then you have to win the first round game. But things could get really interesting if he is on fire.
You know how much more enjoyable also that the NCAA March Madness event that we have every year.
Yep.
Is if Nebraska's playing during the day.
Oh my goodness.
I cannot wait.
Wings and Rings is going to be popping.
And we're going to be right there in the thick of it with all y'all.
Can you imagine?
Here we go.
Picture this. I know we're all going to be at Wings and Rings, but just picture this. Nebraska's playing in the NCAA tournament first round in Omaha. Is the first round in Omaha?
There is a first round in Omaha.
In Omaha.
Nebraska.
This would be wild.
There you go.
And just imagine this. Imagine they get their first win in the NCAA tournament.
In Omaha. All right, there you go. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll bring in Austin. And guess who's back? Strick. He's back. So Strick is back from his world travels. So we'll bring in Stricky, ask him about those. Thanks again to Connor Onion of the Big Ten Network for joining us on the Allo VIP line. VIP line, by the way, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. Let's step aside and wrap up Monday's show coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine. It will be breezy and very warm. We'll see a high around 76. Tonight, partly cloudy skies expected with a low around 44. And tomorrow, mainly sunny skies return, and so does the warmth. We'll see a high around 74. A meteorologist, Kyle Tucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures, all things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Ooh, what a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
The best time to have your air conditioner serviced is before you really need it. Call Bryant now and schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. You'll stay cool and comfortable when you need it most. Just call 467-1111 to schedule your air conditioning check. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go. Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at NebraskaAutoDetail.com.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and Air Park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Now, to tie it back to Nebraska men's basketball, this group has a chance to do something that hasn't been done before.
Yeah.
You know, in making a run in the Big Ten tournament, a serious run, in winning the first NCAA tournament game, but they're not going to get there by doing the same things they've always done. It is on this team to step up and change that narrative. It won't change on its own. Teams won't lay over for you, and that's the mindset shift we haven't consistently seen yet.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainer.
Herbie the Fourth ate his first solid food today, prompting a response of nothing but steaks all week for the Nebraska offensive line.
Then Enrique Alvarez Clary.
No more peaches and carrots for Herbie the Seventh. Baby food be damned.
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the happy hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick, Rico, Austin, and Stricky is back.
Who dat? Who dat?
Yeah, not the Saints. Not that who dat. But who's Stricky?
How you doing, Stricky?
Stricky's excited.
Why is that?
To be back in the mix with the fellas.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? Had a great time, and it was fun. And
Stricky, we missed you.
I will say I miss you guys too, really. I will actually say one of the great experiences about that was just having a chance to sit with my dad. Like,
yeah.
Normally when we travel, we go and we'll do it by way of golf trips, so it's usually we're on the golf course a lot. But it was just fun, man. It was good to sit outside, people watch, get to see other cultures, experience. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. Stricky's back.
Better country, Thailand or Philippines?
They both have a little unique difference about it. I would say it's probably easier in the Philippines because they speak English very well. So it's a lot of commonalities that we share with that. So it's cool. But Thailand is especially Phuket, like the beaches were beautiful. The people were
Rico,
absolutely amazing.
Stop it.
And Rico's absolutely silly.
I'm sorry. Like I respect it. That's just just the city's name is it's dangerous.
Yeah, Phuket.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad, Stricky. I'm glad
I'm sorry. You just every time I say
I think it is too. Anyway,
Thailand,
Stricky, I missed you out helping out with state basketball last week.
I know, man. I in West.
That's all right.
Yeah, Jay don't know hoops. We need you back next year.
Well, that's not what I said. That is not what I said. I did not say that.
Who?
Jay Foreman don't know ball.
I did not say that.
That's
Jay
what Nick
Foreman's
said.
listening.
That's
too.
what Nick said.
That is not what I said.
That's what Austin.
Ooh.
That's what I heard.
Did I say that ever?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
No, I did not.
Ooh,
That's what I
Jay
heard.
Foreman.
I don't know.
If I said that, I would have said it to you.
Someone left your mic out during one of the breaks.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. You said you don't know ball, man.
So I told him to his face.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I was like, dang.
Anyway.
But he couldn't get you because he was a public.
Yeah, of course.
So it's a lot of stuff's been going on since I've been gone. What's up,
a
man?
lot of stuff's been happening.
Stuff's been happening since you got here.
How about this? Saquon Barkley
Yeah.
is changing teams as he is no
Not too far.
longer going to be on the New York Giants. Instead, they are sending him, not sending him.
In division.
He chose to go to
In division.
One more time.
In division.
Where am I thinking?
The
Philadelphia Eagles. Holy cow!
I thought you
I
forgot.
lost.
trying to get
I
it to you.
forgot. I forgot. I was thinking Dallas Cowboys. I was like, I know it's not Dallas Cowboys.
I thought you were like doing it for like dramatic effect, and I was just like, why isn't he saying it?
Drum roll.
No.
Put a drum roll together.
No. So he's now going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Kirk Cousins is moving on from the Vikings and heading over to the Atlanta Falcons.
A little warmer
there. You had Christian Wilkins moving from the Dolphins to the Raiders. You just had
is it Kirk Cousins kind of give you kind of the George effect? Jeff George kind of flow down there?
That's before our time, Stricky.
Oh.
But I'll take your word for it. How about that?
Yeah.
How about Michael Pittman Jr. back, baby?
Michael Pittman Jr.'s back, but another Dolphins guy. Here's the thing. Jake's going to be in a bad mood tomorrow.
Not again.
Dolphins linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel just agreed to a 2-year deal with the Vikings. So he's now leaving. Jake's tweet was 2 minutes ago. Rest in peace, Miami Dolphins. This is a day from hell. 0 playoff wins to show. There's Jake.
There it is.
Just
And
perfectly fine.
The Patriots just signed somebody.
And they paid the big money.
That's right. The Patriots just signed Antonio Gibson from the Commanders.
Yeah.
How do you like him getting rid of Mac?
I mean, it's whatever. It was bound to happen at some point. I feel bad. I truly feel bad for Mac Jones. The 1 year he had a true offensive coordinator, they made the playoffs. And then he had 2 defensive guys being his offensive coordinator, and they sucked. And then he had a true offensive coordinator, but the rumors circulating after this last season were that Bill O'Brien wasn't even like allowed to call plays. So, so it's crazy.
That's tough. This day in history, 4 years ago, do we know what happened?
I do know what happened.
Fred Hoiberg was sick on the Big Ten sidelines.
Oh,
yep. He was sick on the Big Ten sidelines.
Well, he's definitely not sick now.
Nah, they on fire. Stricky, how much were? Oh, Jake said they are also cursed. Here's the thing. Stricky, how often were you able to pay attention to Nebraska basketball with the time change?
I was.
You were?
Yeah.
Good.
The good thing is, well, here's the crazy part. I left on Friday at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
I landed
on Friday.
And I got to tell you this story on our show.
Okay.
I ain't going to hold I got to talk to you about that crazy part. And landed on Friday. It was like Groundhog Day.
It was like planes.
It was
flew
like
into the past.
Like planes happen.
You hit a wormhole.
Hey, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Okay, that I will say that's true because I've had that experience.
Yeah. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
I experienced the same thing.
Because you lose like an actual
12
day.
hours, half a
Yeah,
day.
you
Half a
lose
day.
you lose a half a day.
And then you came into the future.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Now I'm back. To the future.
So over there it is Sunday
Yes.
or just about to be just
No.
Monday.
Yeah, 13
they're-
hours.
they're-
So it's
yeah.
3 o'clock Monday morning, right?
Yeah.
So did you go over there and tell them everything that was happening the next day? Did you let them know what was in the future?
So you guys
Rico.
are behind. You Rico's.
Dear
I
future
know,
Dwight,
bro.
don't drink the coffee.
Exactly.
Dwight.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Thailand's like here. I mean, in some states, they're legalities to the leaf. You can Thailand. You would be surprised.
I was confused. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Okay,
to
I
the
get
green
it.
leaf.
I get it now.
There are legalities over
Yeah,
there.
St.
You can do
Patrick's
that. Yeah. I'm on fire. I'm on fire
What's
today.
coming up on the show?
Was the green leaf on fire too?
Yeah.
Hey, we got tickets to give away.
Oh, that's right. What's your trivia question?
Oh, I got a
Oh,
trivia
there
question.
it is.
What's your trivia question for the Supernovas tickets?
I bet.
We got 8 tickets to give away.
So if anybody hasn't seen the news today from the Omaha Supernovas, this is, it's kind of breaking news. Gina Mancuso-Prososki announced that she is pregnant. She will no longer be. She will be put on
Congrats.
season-ending IR, and she
You're
will
gonna
be
bring
having her
With somebody. How does that work, Rico? Real quick.
pregnancy.
No. Volleyball, professional volleyball.
Hey, yo.
Well, you would know.
Speaking of Rico, isn't it about that time?
Unbelievable.
Stop.
No, like how does volleyball, professional volleyball,
Uh-huh.
season entering IR,
Uh-huh.
season ending
Uh-huh.
IR? Are you able to sign another player?
I believe they should be able to because it opens up a roster spot. She stays with the team,
Right.
But yeah, it should open up a roster spot where they'll be able to sign somebody else or
Fine.
just move somebody up from the practice squad onto the active roster and then sign somebody on the practice squad.
Oh,
Did you
okay,
say
that's
fine?
cool.
Isn't that
You
what the
gonna join the
baby's
team?
for? Take
Fine,
that
I'll
open
do it.
roster spot?
Yeah, that was the extra roster spot.
Yeah.
So they had to. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's fine. So, her husband Mason Prososki played baseball in college. What college did he go to?
Ooh, good one.
There you go.
Well, do you know the answer?
I do.
Okay, good. What's the you texted in.
Text it in 402-464-5685.
The first 2 that get it right get 4 tickets each.
Yep.
Okay, cool. What's coming up on the show?
It's going to be a good one. Lots and lots of Husker hoops. We'll talk about the Michigan game first. We'll talk big picture after that. Where did the Huskers start the year? Where are they going, in the future? Amari Bynum transferring out. We'll talk about that in the short segment. What
Shout
that
out
means.
Earthquake Glue. Shout out.
Big shout out to Earthquake Glue, our guy. We will go over the Big Ten tournament, Nebraska's path, the most important player for the Huskers in that, and then Husker football recruiting update with Brian Munson of Husker Online.
Good stuff. Good stuff coming up on
Carter Nelson
the
got
block.
hops.
Yeah.
You got to see it up close.
Can I say something controversial?
No.
He's a 6'4" athlete. I'd expect him to be dunking like that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just
That's
look.
pretty controversial there.
The 360 dunk, cool. But the other ones is like,
Wow. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's coming up on the block. Stick around. Strick and Austin coming up next. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
Adios.
Hi, folks. Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the Chevrolet and GMC Truck Month is now underway. We've got huge savings in Louisville. Get $9,000 off or 1.9% for 72 months on select models. Yes, you heard right. That's $9,000 off or 1.9%